Welcome back to another unholy hour live stream here at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Your boy is barely hanging on by a thread, but we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this right, okay? So, this is a Honkai Star Rail live stream. As you guys already know, it's a 1.2 special program. Shouldn't take too long. I give it maybe 30 minutes or so, and we should be done. Congratulations to everybody who got Locha, and Anime Holic Tops is also in the same boat as me. All right, we're skipping everything until Jingliu, which what 1.4, 1.5, who knows? Who knows, right? At this point, the longer the better, because I'm probably just gonna get the monthly pass and that's it. I don't think I need to spend any more in this game. I don't have the resources to build anybody up anymore. I'm building like 10, 12 characters already. So that's going to keep me busy for another, what, 2-3 patches minimum. We're talking like fully level 80 with like beasted out relic sets. So with regards to the relic set, probably it's going to take me more than half a year. If I'm unlucky, maybe a year for some characters. So I mean, that's the whole point, right, for HoYoverse to design the game in this manner. Not much has happened since the last time we met. Had a couple busy days here, IRL, so I couldn't really grind out as much Trailblaze EXP as I would like to. But as you guys can see, we're steadily making our way to 60. I'm debating that once we cross, like when we get to 6,000-7,000, I might just start burning through the fuels to get to level 60. I don't know. At this point, oh right, I need to claim my level up rewards. I think I have like what, 56 fuels, including this should be 56 if I'm not mistaken. 60 gives me 1 pull and some EXP books. I've been grinding mostly EXP. Whatever extra stuff I got, I've been putting into EXP. So now I have enough for like 1.5, barely, no, not even 1.5, like 1 1/3 of a character to level 80. So I probably won't be able to do it. I have the materials for Jing Yuan and for Sile, I believe, already pre-farmed. So that's going to be pretty good. I don't know how much the major traces are going to cost when I get them to Ascension 6, I believe. Is it Ascension 6 or Ascension 5? Ascension 6, right? The major traces. Haven't really looked into it. Oh, right, exactly. I know exactly how much what they're gonna cost. I just haven't looked into it. So need a bunch of these. Where's Sile? Need a bunch of these, which we'll farm these once we get to Ascension 6. Right now, mostly focused on EXP. Clara, because of some dailies, I have been farming her domain, her relic, I guess. This is like the best piece I've gotten. I've only farmed it twice, and I got this one, which, you know, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. I think the only 2 pieces I've gotten were both from this slot, the glove slot, and this is the alternative, and I got this. I mean, if this thing rolls crit damage at the end here, I'm just saying, if it rolls crit damage, it's something. Yes, I did wait until I went live to level this up just so I can leverage my viewership for some juicy streamer luck. But we'll see how this turns out. Okay, I don't think Dawei's awake yet. Maybe oh wait, no, but it's like, no, Dawei's eating dinner right now, so he forgot to flip the switch. Will you pull for future 4 stars? Even you skipping I don't think I'll be pulling for 4 stars. The problem is, like, what do I still need in my teams, right? Like, I'm thinking critically as not a content creator who wants to pull to make content for these characters, but I'm thinking from the perspective of, okay, what does my account still need? What do I need to round out my shortcomings, right? And so far, I can't think of any. Everything I could possibly need as of now is in this account, right? I have 3 abundance characters. I have like 4 harmony characters, like really, really good ones. I have like some of the best preservations in the game. insane destruction even already at Eidolon 1, right? I have all, like most of them, I have their weapons. I don't really need anything. Like there's nothing really that I keep going back to the point. It's like pulling for the sake of pulling is not really the way to go, at least not for this game and not for Hoyoverse titles. I've said why. It's mainly because there's no incentive to pull. There's zero incentive. Like you really have to like the character to pull. And to be quite frank with you, the character that I like the most is Jing Liu. And that's who I'm going to pull for. I'm going to save all the way until her banner. I'm just going to pull for her. And all along the way, I'm going to be probably buying the monthly pass. And that's it. Will you pull for links? No, I don't need links. Like an abundance healer in the quantum category just seems so like, I don't know. Like I can't imagine myself not clearing content if I just invest into the characters I have right now. The only thing I would pick up along the way is probably a Seele weapon if she does rerun at any point. But I honestly feel like we're gonna move on to like Wuthering Waves before Seele even reruns. Will Kafka E0 be meta? Kafka E0 I believe will be meta for like one patch, and then she'll be good. She'll be a good option, and then like you can play her if you want, but people who have pulled Seele, who have pulled Jing Yuan, who have pulled Blade, right? Like all the DPSs available in the game are gonna feel good with a few, maybe one or two that feels exceptional. I'm not gonna comment now on how good Seele is gonna be in 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, but I cannot imagine her becoming irrelevant anytime soon, right? So as long as someone like Seele is still relevant, there's gonna be less value and incentive to pull Kafka. You're really only pulling Kafka because you like the character and not because she's gonna redefine the meta or anything. But there, yes, if to answer your question, there will be meta teams for Kafka, but Kafka will not be the meta, if that makes sense. Danji's Blade is only going to be worth it if you go whaling and get him to E2 and his light cone. This is the thing I don't want to see happen, is like whale baiting this early in the game, right? Like sure, whale baiting every now and then is fine because you want to make an extra buck here or there. Like I never fault companies for wanting to make money. This I also don't get the mentality of people like saying, oh my god, Hoyoverse is so greedy, like they want to make money, but that's what a business is, right? But I think what my problem with it is like when it's so on the nose and so obvious, and they are so like they're completely okay with just throwing that in your face and disrespecting their player base to the point where like, yeah, we want your money, so what? Like what you gonna do about it? Like when it gets at that point, usually it's like it's distasteful, right? I wouldn't fault them, but it's just distasteful and it's poorly done. And in the case of taking a popular character, like they know which characters are popular, right? Like Seele, Jing Yuan, these were popular characters, and I think Seele, what they always do with their first character is like they make their first new units so broken to make people regret not going like all in. This is what they did with Venti in the beginning as well. Like Venti was so damn broken, so people who came in like 2 weeks later, 3-4 weeks later, like if you join in 1.1 and you miss Jing Yuan and Seele, a lot of the times you're just gonna sit there regretting like, oh, I should have jumped in sooner. So next time they have a new title, you're gonna be like, oh, the Hoyoverse thing, yeah, I'm gonna get in day one. Hoyoverse really likes to play these mind games with people. They like FOMO is truly Hoyoverse's favorite tool in the shed, in their arsenal. So when it comes to how they like to make you like they rather make you regret than anything else, right? Like they want to send you into this pit of sorrowful regret for months on end to teach you a lesson, right? That they want to break you down fundamentally and leave you with your own thoughts for like half a year, for a year of you beating yourself up. And back to the topic of Blade. If you invest into Blade, I have not seen how good his E2 is. I have not calculated how his numbers work with or without his Lycone. But if it's true that they are already whale baiting people for E2, which is something they derived at financially through, I keep saying this, through Raiden Shogun. They experimented with Raiden Shogun. Instead of whale baiting for E6 or C6, they made her E2 C2 being Constellation 2, the second Eidolon. They made that one really OP, and they wanted to see how it was going to benefit or hurt their sales. And it turns out E2 was an insane move by Hoyoverse, right? So ever since then, at every given opportunity, they try their best to whale bait at E2 and not E6, or C2 and not C6. And this has bled into Honkai Star Rail, and I didn't think they were going to implement this so soon. I thought it's gonna at least take half a year to close to a year before they implement the whole E2 bait, but man, am I wrong. It's happening for Blade and Kafka, and you know what both of these characters have in common? They are anticipated units that are incredibly popular among the community. The difference why they didn't whale bait Seele and Jingyuan is because they want people to feel like, oh my god, I can get away with just a C0, like a free-to-play weapon character, right? They don't need that. Oh, there's no such thing as like huge whale baits at E1, E2. It was very gradual. If you look at Silverwolf and calculate her numbers, for people who want to build Silverwolf and have her on a two auto 1 burst cycle, you really need this Eidolon. Without it, it's just impractical. So and what ends up happening is like you'll end up right, I think, 2 energy. Like Theory Crafters was talking about this. It's like what ends up happening is like after, even if you optimize your stats perfectly, you'll be always 2 energy short, which is insane, right? Like, which is insane. Do you guys think that was like a calculation error? Don't think so. But if you get this, then you comfortably will hit 2 auto 1 burst cycles for Silverwolves. There's so many of these nuances in these characters' Eidolons that are so meticulously mathematically thought out to just cuck you. Sorry, I had to put the emphasis on cuck. They really just put you in a chokehold in this game. However, one of the few characters that don't feel this way is like Seele. Jingyuan doesn't even feel like that bad at E0. I got him to E2 because I was just like trying to fish for Bailu and Jippert and stuff, and Bronya, but I ended up winning both of my I won both of my 50. I won all 3 50/50s actually, so didn't even get that. Overall though, I would be very disappointed to see them whale baiting, but I mean E2 baiting this early in the game. It's too soon. Walrus, links, buffs, HP, gifts, taunt, AoE, heal, cleanse, self-cleanse. Which, I mean, cleanse is always nice to have, but with Bronya, with Bailu, I mean not Bailu, sorry, with Bronya, with Luocha, with March 7th, and Natasha, these 4 characters can all cleanse, and I can interchange them. They're all of different elements as well. We got ice, we got physical, we got imaginary, and we got wind. Where's Bronya? And we got wind, right? Sure, having abundance in here is gonna be nice. I might pull on the banner a couple times just to build pity, but I wouldn't really hard commit to pulling links. I don't want to jeopardize as somebody who's now put themselves. What is this thing called? As somebody who is now just an express supply pass player, man, that is hard to say. I'm just gonna say like even supply pass. Man, they really don't make this stuff roll off the tongue. Welkin was so much easier to say. GTX is what you doing this to yourself, Warriors, getting E2 Jingyuan, E6 Venti accident all over again. I know. I always go way overboard. So, but this time you see, I stopped myself. I think I got Venti to C4 before I pulled the plug. But once Jingyuan got to E2, I'm like, I'm done. I can't. I don't want to go anymore. Like I caught myself doing it. Okay, listen. It was supposed to be Sile, but the only reason I couldn't do it for Sile, I didn't E2 her, was because I was literally in a place with like the shoddiest internet connection you can possibly imagine. Like, just imagine the worst internet experience you've ever had in your whole life and double it. Dude, like, I would say 90% of the time I didn't even have internet. So yeah. Bethesda says Walrus, she does AoE cleanse unlike them, and she's a 4-star. She's a buffer for HP percent scaling character. Oh, AoE cleanse. So team cleanse. That could be nice for the, you know, the fire inferno guy that applies that that dot on you guys, on your whole team, and every turn it gets worse until eventually it does like half your health in one tick. Lynx is made to work with Fushuan and Blade. And I also heard about Fushuan needing a healer, which I don't know about that, man. Like, I don't know. Like, what kind of content do they have planned to the point where they need a preservation and an AoE cleanse healer on the same team just to keep your team alive? I don't know what they're thinking. Dan G says my Sile E2 won 3 in a row. Lucky AF has carried me the entire game. I still can't get lucky on Santa Banner. Got Jeopard E3 0 Branyas Bailu's Welt. Wow, that's rough. Have you gotten to the 300 standard banner summons? Fushan's kid is like Dia from Genshin. Yeah, I heard like she takes damage for the rest of her team, which is a weird thing to have. But I mean, whatever works for them, I guess. They really taken inspiration from Dia and then just taking it to Honkai Star Rail. We'll see. But I think a character like Fushan will work better than Dia because in Honkai Star Rail you're guaranteed to take damage, whereas in Genshin you're not really necessarily guaranteed, and there's just so many other damage reduction options or straight up damage mitigation options, right? So that's the thing with Genshin, is that you're not guaranteed to take damage, and when you could choose not to take damage, why would you actively choose to take damage? Whereas in Honkai Star Rail is a little different. You cannot avoid not taking damage, so this kind of damage redirection stuff is really good. So this should be live soon, any moment now. Come on. Come on now. Somebody fell asleep at Hoyover's headquarters. Someone fell asleep at the headquarters and forgot to press stream. Well, it's not stream, it's a pre-recorded video. Somebody, like, come on. 1 minute, right? At 4:25 a.m. Come on. It says 4:25, which is, it should be now. Go, 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 go. And I swear the voice actor for Kafka is hella thirsty. Like, she's there it is. doesn't it feel so peaceful? Imagine if you were sitting on this train with a nice hot beverage sitting by the window, just cruising by like a rogue planet or something like that with like these asteroids floating around it. Very peaceful. Tio was like, I would look at Himiko. And then a meteor comes crashing towards the express. I mean, what are the chances of that actually happening? Look at a celestial body the size of this planet. It probably gets an asteroid impact once a couple 100 million years. Then you go into hyperspace and spill your coffee all over yourself. To be honest, I have no idea what the capabilities of this train are. Like, I don't even know if it can go like hyperspace, like beyond light travel. Bethesda says Fushan does a ton of damage. She does as much damage as a DPS. If not, she's just another Dia. A preservation that needs an abundance and does nothing else. I mean, right now, actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that. Just today, I played a team with Clara and Sile together, and it felt pretty good. Now, Clara wasn't well built because I didn't give her relics, like proper relics, so she wasn't really contributing much in terms of damage. But it was very nice to have. Like, I could see the potential in a double DPS synergy. I had Branya and then I ran Locha. So I could see, yeah, like a double DPS happening, and Fushuan being a preservation with a ton of damage could, you know, it could work out really well. But like, for example, with a character like Clara, who also has a bit of taunt in her kit. Does Clara have taunt? I feel like, doesn't when she uses her ultimate? Wait, I'm curious now. Cause I swear, like she gets hit quite a lot once she uses her ultimate. Where is it though? I remember there was the buff for an enemy apart in battle. The chance cover be attacked by enemies increases for 2 turns. Okay. And taunt. So it's here. It's in her ultimate. Here, and greatly increases the chance of being attacked by enemies. Yeah. So this is the ability that's really nice. I play. Oh, whoa.
I always knew you were a dark horse, Mr. Yang.
Well, speak for yourself. You know,
that caught me off guard.
If I had met you a few years ago, my creative career would have taken a more interesting turn.
I heard you had something new in the works. What's it about? Let me guess. The Adventures of the Nameless.
Well, it's early concept at the moment. The Express crew has given me a lot of food for thought, but still, when it comes to key plot points, I'm in need of some inspiration.
Fuck.
Ooh, inspiration.
How about this?
We give you some ideas. After all, when it comes to scripts, we're seasoned professionals.
Why do they look so concerned?
The rules of this game are like reality. We all think we have infinite possibilities, but when you
This guy knows what's up. He's just staring at Mommy Kafka.
The answer is constrained by previous choices. Relax.
Volume up. Okay. I thought Kafka was gonna have some really cool tricks, but she just turned around with a submachine gun. I mean, like, I thought she was gonna have like some wires that's like hanging there that just disposes them very cool, like in a very cool, calculated manner. But she just turns around with a submachine gun.
You think another name and face can blot out the sin of your past? Fail. Defend you. Release your full potential. The power you carry is the key to opening a way through to the ambrosial arbor. As coming here triggered your memory. What happens next is in your hands.
You, and you. All three of you are staying right here.
The karma of past lives changed the world of the present.
I wish for you to despair. So
Oh, Qingyuan.
turn on one another and destroy that which you love with your own hands.
Even immortality ends. Well, Raiden's not gonna enjoy that very much. Code, people, quick. Code number 7B6B, right? 7GBZ, 7GBZ. And then TVTB, there we go. First code is here.
And whether or not your world has a day-night cycle, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm your buddy Albert, and welcome to the version 1.2 Even Immortality Ends special program. Today, we have 3 special guests in the hot seats. Introducing...
Hey guys, I'm Cheryl Texera, and I voice Kafka.
Hey there, I'm Damon Mills, and I voice Blade.
Hi, folks. My name is Corey Landis, and I voice Welt.
Guys, it's great to have you with us. Man, that trailer was a roller coaster. Corey, your thoughts?
Whoa, me already? Okay. It looked like various factions were getting ready for battle. I think we're one move away from a serious showdown here.
Agreed. It was cool to see some new environments and enemies, too. I better get my team in order.
You're gonna need to, my friend. In version 1.2, the Xianzhou Lao Fu will face a setback that threatens the fate of the whole alliance. The Trailblazer will need to pass through various
Thank
jails
God
and
for new
arrive at the
story
location
quest.
of the
Thank
sealed
you.
Ambrosial Arbor, where a decisive battle with the one responsible for the Stellaron disaster awaits.
Not to mention, Don Hung finally gets reunited with the Astral Express crew.
Don Hung's journey has been longer than most could imagine.
Care to elaborate, Damon?
I didn't say anything.
Come on, guys. You're trying to get me fired here. Editors, you can cut that bit out. What was I gonna say?
Editors
The
failed
story
him.
left off on a bit of a cliffhanger last time.
It sure did. I mean, why did Jing Yuan deploy those forces? Who is he trying to catch?
And what about the Stellaron hunters? Where did they go after escaping?
Well, who says they went anywhere?
Cut that out too. I'm sure all these questions will be answered in the upcoming story. Now, aside from Trailblaze mission updates, version 1.2 will see new characters coming to the warp. First on the scene, Blade.
Man, they really nerfed him quite a lot, honestly. Like, I feel like... I don't know how good he's gonna be.
I have a question for Damon. If, say, there were 5 people, would I be one of them?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Don't look at me. I don't know anything about anything. Okay?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm not one of the 5 people, but here is a fact for you. Whenever Blade gets scary, it's the Mara flaring up.
Isn't he always scary?
He usually does what I tell him.
I should probably unpack that a little. Blade relies on Kafka's spirit whisper to suppress the Mara inside him.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. You know, most of the time, Bladey's a nice, quiet boy.
Totally. He's
Why
not a
does
strong
Kafka
communicator, that's
sound
for sure.
so
I'm pretty sure half my
thirsty?
recording sessions have focused on 2
Like-
sounds. Number 1, Number 2,
I can believe that.
Why?
It's strange that a lone wolf like him would want to team up with the Stellaron hunters. Unless Kafka's spirit whispered him into it.
Kafka was more of a go-between. The real reason Blade joined was because Elio promised him the outcome he desired.
Outcome? Meaning vengeance? Look, a certain someone on the Express has been having
Vengeance,
nightmares about this guy.
lamenting.
Not just vengeance, a funeral.
A funeral.
his own to be precise. Through unexpected circumstances, Blade became immortal. His body recovers from the worst of sicknesses and the gravest of injuries, even from death itself. Those bandages aren't for show. For Blade, immortality isn't a blessing. It's a curse that follows him wherever he goes.
Yikes. And I thought I had a problem, huh? Well, let's leave something to the imagination here. I'm sure our trailblazers will find out more about Blade's backstory as things unfold.
So
For
he's
now,
really
Let's
lamenting,
take a look at
isn't
what
he?
he's capable of on the battlefield.
Destruction.
Blade is a wind-type character, following the path of destruction. By consuming his own HP, he's able to deal greater damage to enemies. And I guess that's the risk you take when you're immortal, huh?
Blade's skill consumes a set amount of his own HP and initiates Hellscape. While Hellscape is active, Blade deals greater damage, and his basic attack is enhanced from Shard Sword to Forest of Swords. While Shard Sword is a single target attack, Forest of Swords deals damage to multiple enemies.
I got a question. Can Blade still use his skill if his HP isn't enough to cover the set amount?
In that situation, when Blade uses his skill, his HP decreases to 1.
Ooh, that sounds a little dicey.
A bit. Well, there's a silver lining. When Blade's HP decreases, his talent is triggered, granting him a charge. When charges are fully stacked, Blade unleashes a follow-up attack on all enemies and recovers a set amount of HP. When Blade unleashes his ultimate, his HP is set to 50% of his max HP, and he deals massive damage to a single target and adjacent enemies.
HP for damage, huh? Interesting. No wonder he's so indifferent to
he's like-
being healed. Huh?
He's like Hu Tao and Zhao mixed
And
into
the more
one.
HP Blade loses, the more damage his ultimate deals.
Yeah, it does. Blade's technique, Karma Wind, also consumes his HP and deals wind damage to all enemies after entering battle.
Ooh, when it comes to taking damage, Blade should be more afraid of himself than his enemies.
I don't know.
This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Okay, Kafka,
Ultimate
relax.
line, anyone?
I feel like he's gonna be a very annoying
We
character to
can't
build
let
and
Blade
play
steal the show.
in the beginning.
It's time to talk about
until you get
another
used to him.
Stellaron hunter. His partner in crime, Kafka.
She's a cool character, I do have to admit. She's a very cool character, but unfortunately, my heart belongs to another.
Kafka's a familiar face at this point in the story. She was the first person the Trailblazers set eyes on, and meaning Kafka must have been there for the Trailblazers' first words, the first step. No wonder so many players are calling her.
Okay. I don't think that's gonna get past the editors there, Albert. Look, what I am interested in is this.
They really
Since
went
Kafka
there.
appeared on her
They
space
really went
station,
there.
she's managed to implant the
Let's see
Trailblazer
what-
with the Stellaron,
let's see what the chat's saying.
hijack the Express's signals, and draw the crew onto the Xianzhou Lafu. It almost feels like she has the Trailblazer's destiny in the palm
People
of her hand.
barking in chat.
It's
What the
like
fuck?
Kafka said, when it comes to scripts, the Stellaron hunters are seasoned professionals.
Well, that might be the case, but that's not to say the Trailblazers' choices aren't important. What's a script without a director?
Reach the end of the story in your own way.
I've got another question. Why did Kafka join the Stellaron Hunters?
Ooh. So, Kafka was born on Terias 5, a planet that knows no fear. And literally, Kafka is unable to feel the emotion fear, and therefore cannot comprehend the value of life. When Elio promised to bring about a change for her, she signed up without a second thought.
Now, for someone who can't feel fear, she's pretty great at making others feel it.
This scares you more than it scares me.
You want me to use my spirit whisper on him, Albert?
Yes. No. I mean, let's move on to Kafka's combat, shall we?
Oh, yes. I thought you'd never ask. So Kafka is a lightning-type character following the path of nihility, and she can deal additional damage over time to enemies. Her skill deals lightning damage to multiple targets. If an enemy is afflicted with DOT, they receive an additional bout of DOT damage.
That is to say, if an enemy is already afflicted with DOT, they receive additional damage both during their turn and after Kafka's attack.
That's right. Not to mention, additional damage doesn't replace existing DOT. I mean, did you think Kafka was gonna take it easy on him? Come on. And separately, after an ally uses a basic attack, Kafka will launch a follow-up attack. Kafka's ultimate, on the other hand, deals lightning damage to all enemies with a chance of shocking targets and immediately dealing additional damage to those already shocked. Kafka's technique can attack all enemies within a set range and deals lightning damage to all enemies after entering battle.
How elegant.
Well, she likes elegant things, and there's a certain elegance to combat.
Kafka's abilities are kind of terrifying.
The way she
Her
talks.
enemies are like flies trapped in a wave, slowly taking damage until...
Boom.
Ooh, hey, that was pretty good.
Yeah, from HP sacrificing maniacs and emotionless sociopaths to the coolest kid on the block. It's time to introduce our next character.
What? Hey, that is a little harsh. Also, since when did Welt become the coolest kid on the block?
Think again. I'm talking about the born and bred Bellabog hero, Luca!
Oh, come on.
Luca. So he's the new 4-star, right? That we've heard about. Wonder what he does. I haven't looked into this character at all. Wow.
So that's the guy on the light cone.
Nihility.
He
Another
looks a little
nihility.
different on the light cone.
Luca is an underworld fighter that goes by the moniker Luca Strongarm. He's a member of Wildfire and apprentice to Oleg.
Wait, doesn't the underworld have a fight club? I guess that must be where Luca spends his time.
Oh, you better believe it. In fact, he's the Fight Club champion, and not only that, he's also a reliable operations consultant for the moles.
So he's with the moles, huh? Does Luca know he's a member?
Probably. The kids of the underworld look up to Luca in a big way. And the reason he fights
Is
to
he
set a good
missing his
example of
left
dedication
leg as well?
and discipline.
Because it looks
And
like
speaking of
he's
fighting,
missing his right
let's take a look
arm.
at him in action.
And
Luca
his
is a
left
physical
leg.
type character following the path of nihility. After multiple attacks, he's able to launch an enhanced basic attack. His skill deals physical damage to a single target and has a chance of inflicting bleed.
And during battle, Luca can obtain Fighting Will through a variety of attacks. When Fighting Will reaches a certain number of stacks, Luca's basic attack is enhanced.
His enhanced basic attack deals 4 hits of damage, with the final hit dealing additional damage to enemies currently inflicted with bleed.
Kids today, no respect.
When Luca unleashes his ultimate, in addition to dealing damage, he also obtains Fighting Will, and there's a chance of increasing the target's damage received for a set number of turns.
Woo! And when your opponent's fist is the same size as your head, it's time to throw in the towel.
Yeah, well, it's the power of those punches that scares me. I'm sure having a robotic arm is also a big help, but I think Luca's strength lies in his love of the sport. Oh, and I almost forgot. When using his technique during exploration, Luca obtains Fighting Will after entering battle.
Jeez! Does this guy ever take a break? Well, it was great to start off the program with a character deep dive.
Okay.
Next up, it looks like we've got 2 brand new 5-star light cones coming to the warp in version 1.2. Let's start with a Path of Destruction light cone, the unreachable side.
Oh, okay. Question. The Paradise Blade mentions in his ultimate line, is that where he's standing right there?
I don't know what paradise means to you, Corey, but a barren sword-filled wasteland isn't my idea of a vacation.
Speak for yourself. Here's a fun fact. Each of those swords had an owner, and Blade was the last one to see them alive.
Oh, whoa! So he killed them for their swords. Only a brutal, calculated, jealous mind could do something like that.
Those swords look so
The
basic.
maniac and sociopath segment is over. Moving swiftly onto
Wow.
a 5-star Path of Nihility light cone. Patience is all you need. Here, we see, our resident sociopath again.
Okay. Well, looks like Kafka's waiting for the main course to arrive there, huh?
What do you think's on the menu?
You want to guess?
What are you looking at me for?
Oh my god, she's
Nobody eats out, right?
she's just playing into
During
it.
the first phase of version 1.2 in the character warp, a lost soul, Trailblazers can obtain
Sushang
the limited 5-star
again?
character
Natasha?
Blade. During the same phase, in the light cone event warp, the drop rate of the 5-star light cone, the unreachable side, will be boosted. And during the second phase of version 1.2 in the character warp, Nessun Dorma, Trailblazers can
Oh,
obtain
this
the
is a-
limited
this is
5-star
a good
character
banner.
Kafka and 4-star character Luca. And during the same phase, in the light cone event
This is,
warp, the drop rate
this
of
is
the
a good
5-star
banner.
light cone, patience is
This
all
is a
you
really
need,
good
will
banner.
be boosted.
What the hell?
And that's a wrap on banners. Ooh, I need to lie down.
Sample, Serval, and
Don't go
Luca
anywhere,
with
Trailblazers.
Kafka. That is like that is huge value. How people are gonna bite the bullet pulling for Blade, I don't know, but Kafka banner is where it's at. MSP T7H, MSP T7H, AZT, CTX. Okay, that's the second code. We got 2 codes now. Look at that. That, you know, in my opinion, the EXP is like more important than the Jade. Cause think about it.
Welcome back, everyone! As
Sorry, I
mentioned
couldn't
at
do the math
start of
fast
the
enough.
show in version 1.2, before the Trailblazers' decisive boss battle, they will need to pass through various delves. No surprise then, that 1.2 would unlock 2 new
maps.
areas.
Okay.
The Alchemy Commission and
Sub-regions.
Scale Gorge Waterscape.
Now, the Alchemy Commission, is that where the Xianzhou makes its medicines, or...?
Ooh, you got it! The Alchemy Commission is one of the 6 commissions of the Lafu. And for no prize whatsoever, can anyone name all 6?
Oh, yeah, let's see. The Alchemy Commission, the Divination Commission.
The Skyfaring Commission, the Artisanship Commission, the Cloud Knights. Oh, shoot, what was that other one?
Drum roll, please. The Realm Keeping Commission.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
The Alchemy Commission used to focus their efforts on the wave of
I have no idea who they're talking
But
about.
these days, it's all about medical research and treating diseases.
Now, the Trailblazer came face to face with some Alchemy Commission folks in Exalting Sanctum, but things seemed a little off.
I don't want to create more work for the editors, but I have a theory that the reason why that...
Adjacent to the Alchemy Commission lies Scale Gorge Waterscape, the realm of the videographer.
He's just ignoring us now.
We've got a lot to get through. Where was I? Oh, along with the Alchemy Commission and Scale Gorge Waterscape, come new puzzles.
No.
Seems like Trailblazers will face a lot of new challenges on the road to the Ambrosial Arbor. I can't wait.
Oh, Owlbert, are you making Corey read off the teleprompter?
Puzzles aren't the only new challenges Trailblazers will be facing in these areas. There are monsters afoot. First up, a creature of indomitable size and destructive power, the Malefic Ape. And next on the list, an entity rid of the burden of humanity that has remodeled itself in the way of immortality, the Ascended. And finally,
Yen Ching? Why would the General's aides attack a Cloud Knight lieutenant?
all will be revealed in the version 1.2 story.
Interesting.
I think we skipped an enemy, Albert. You mentioned a boss lurking on the Cienjo Law Fu. Care for a sneak peek?
Oh, how
big
could I
woman.
forget?
Big lady. Let's see. I remember she was huge. What is that thing? Okay, okay. Watch where the sword is striking. Jesus Christ.
Hold on your hats, folks. It's Fantilia the Undying, wielder of the power of both the destruction and the abundance. In her first phase, she summons abundance lotuses which restore her HP and reduce the player team's skill points.
Weakening her enemies and strengthening herself in one fell swoop? Yikes.
That's why choosing the right moment to destroy those abundance lotuses is so important. Eliminating an abundance lotus recovers 3 skill points.
Well, you know, when you borrow something, you gotta give it back.
Now, in her second phase, Fantilia uses her destruction power to summon destruction lotuses. These lotuses reduce ally max HP and when in bloom, deal damage to a single target.
I wonder.
So,
This
should
is
we
a
just wait for them to stop
Echoes of
blooming
War
before we
boss,
take them
no?
out?
No, I doubt the power of the destruction is as simple as that.
Oh, you're not wrong, Cheryl. When the lotuses aren't in bloom, their toughness doesn't receive damage. As such, Trailblazers should seize the moment when the flowers are open to break their weakness. And finally, in the third phase, Fantilia goes golden. What terrible trick does she have up her sleeve? I'm afraid Trailblazers are gonna have to wait to find out.
I'm curious, where did Fantilia even come from? How come she can use the powers of the abundance and the destruction?
I hate to be that guy again, but all will be revealed in the version 1.2
She's an interesting
story.
boss. I'm actually
Anyone
interested.
here getting
She-
deja vu?
Hey, I can't go
She's an
spell
interesting
all the
boss.
beans. When the main story combat draws to a close, Fantilia the Undying will join the
Echoes of
War and
War,
drop the
yeah.
advanced trace materials required for Blade, Kafka, and Luca. Regret of Infinite Okama.
And a quick
I-
reminder, Trailblazers,
I don't need to farm her
Echo
then.
of War has a limited number of weekly rewards, so don't forget to plan ahead.
Also, in version 1.2, Stagnant Shadow, Shape of Celestial, is arriving, which drops the brand new character Ascension material, Ascendant Debris. This is also the Ascension material required for Blade.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it's
Don't need
time
it.
to talk about version
Not touching
1.2
it.
events.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this segment. Let's start with Tales of the Fantastic. The crisis on the Xianzhou Laofu has subsided, and the feats of the Nameless can be heard on every street corner. Starskiff Haven storyteller, Mr. Cien, is interested in the Astral Express's tale, eager to work his storytelling magic.
Oh, yeah, the storyteller. I'm familiar with him. I wonder what he'll do with the Trailblazer's story. His artistic license and collage editing bring all kinds of tales to life.
Well, that's Mr. Cien, all right. To spruce up the tale, he's given us a set of protagonist models.
Protagonist models? What's that?
I hear it's kind of a magical object invented by one of the scriptwriters at the Immersion Club. It industrializes the scriptwriting process. As long as you follow its guidance, you'll be able to captivate an audience with your storytelling. To unleash the full potential of the protagonist models, the Trailblazer must accompany Mr. Cien into the past and visit historical battle locations. Now, the name might be a little dull, but don't underestimate the protagonist models. Different combinations have different effects. Once the protagonist models have been properly refined, Legend of the Trailblazer can be a runaway hit.
Oh, this sounds like a fun event.
Well, there's more where that came from. The next event is called Underground Treasure Hunt. The underworld appraiser, Bellaway the Miner's Lamp, is making a comeback.
They say that in Belobog's great mine, ancient ruins have been discovered where many rare treasures and relics are waiting to be identified. However, according to the senior treasure hunter Axe, there exists a space beneath the ruins where relics of even greater value may be found. The only thing is, the road to the ruin depths is filled with all kinds of danger.
Treasure hunters must steel themselves and explore sealed areas in order to progress deeper into the ruins.
I'm sure these sealed areas are full of hidden treasures, but there's always a catch.
Surprise and danger rolled into one. I'm sure Kafka would get a kick out of this.
Treasure hunters will need endurance, courage, and insight if they want to succeed. It's almost certain that the sealed areas will contain enemies, but supplementary items and keycards to other sealed areas are the secrets to progression.
This is a solo mission, right? It sounds like a tough challenge to take on alone.
Oh, they won't be alone. During exploration, treasure hunters can be sure to run into familiar faces.
Let's hope that we're happy to see them.
So do treasure hunters get any kind of special rewards?
Of course! In the Underground Treasure Hunt event, aside from the usual Stellar Jade, treasure hunters can obtain the themed Where's the Rabbit chat box.
Isn't the rabbit in the chat box?
It's a treasure chest. What I'm trying to say is, the theme of the chat box is called Where's the Rabbit?
Okay. So the rabbit's in the treasure chest, right?
In version 1.2, the message and chat box functions will be enabled for the first time. Trailblazers can obtain and swap between chat boxes. And I'm not just talking about the friend chat screen. I'm talking about the game's character interaction chat boxes too.
Oh, I love the rabbit design. It seems like something Clara would like too.
So cute.
Yeah, so cute.
Do you think Svarog could have designed it for
Oh,
her? Maybe?
Interesting thought. Safe to say that chat boxes will continue to get
I'm not so sure
will be
about
able to view and swap between
the
those
mini
they
games.
already have, as well
They're
as
just
view
taking the
those
same
they can
exact
obtain.
approach as Genshin.
On to the next event. Where are you, Mystery Trotter?
This really is the version of missing creatures, isn't it?
The good news is, all of them can be found. Regan of Belobog has come across a new scientific research gadget. Homemade sensor number 223. The device is able to detect mysterious coordinates that display abnormal readings.
I recognize that abnormal reading. Isn't that just a trotter?
Oh no, don't tell me that we have to fight it. I mean, sure, it's a little scary, but it's cute, right?
If I told you it dropped Stellar Jade, would that change how you feel, maybe?
Yeah, that thing's bacon.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know what's tastier than bacon?
What?
Forgotten Hall updates! In version 1.2, the brand new memories of Xianzhou.
There's Yukong that you get for free.
Arriving.
Yeah, now we're talking.
That's not all. After clearing the Forgotten Hall Memories of Xianzhou Stage 1, Trailblazers can obtain the 4-star character Yukong.
Cool.
In addition to the Forgotten Hall, the simulated universe will also be receiving an update in the form of World 7.
World 7, nice.
And the brand new planar ornaments, Brutulant Arena and Broken Keel.
Let's see, 2-piece set effect, increase wearer's crit rate. That's nice. When crit rate is equal or greater than a certain percentage, the wearer's base attack and skill damage increases. Increases the wearer's effective resistance greater than a certain percentage. All allies crit damage increases. Whoa.
Will be added to the World 7 immersion device.
Wow.
And the ride
Effective
doesn't
resistance.
stop there either. In version 1.2's Planar Fisher event, Trailblazers that successfully challenge the simulated universe can obtain a set amount of double planar ornament rewards. Meanwhile, in the Alchemy Commission's Cavern of Corrosion, Trailblazers can obtain the brand new Cavern
New
Relic,
relic, increased
Longibus
speed.
Disciple, and Messenger traversing Hackerspace.
Nice.
And finally, in 1.2's Realm of the Strange event, players that successfully challenge the Cavern of Corrosion can obtain a set amount of double Cavern Relic rewards. Whew. And
Okay.
I think we're gonna go pass out for a while. Over to you guys.
No problem. We got you, buddy. We got you. In version 1.2, the 2 companion missions, Letter from a Strange Woman and For I Have Touched the Sky, will be arriving.
In a letter from a strange woman, the Trailblazer will receive a request from Kafka. As for how the
Kafka and
Trailblazer
Yukong.
should
This could be
respond,
interesting.
I only have one thing to say. When you have a chance to make a choice, make one that you know you won't regret.
All will be revealed in version 1.2. Sorry.
Isn't he supposed to be passed out?
I think someone's playing sound bites. I should say a little something about the other companion mission. In For I Have Touched the Sky, an accident has occurred in Stargazer Navalia. When the Trailblazer investigates, they find a girl in trouble. Who could she be? And what secrets could Yukong be hiding?
I'll be honest, I don't care about Honkai Star Rail's
Hey,
story
sound guy,
as
A
much.
little early on that one.
Before we bring things back to a close here, let's talk about the ever-popular reward events. Version 1.2 will see the return of the Gift of Odyssey check-in event. During the event, as long as Trailblazers log in for 7 days, doesn't have to be consecutive, they can acquire
Every
10
patch?
Star Rail special packs.
10 free summons
Ooh.
every patch?
Let's do it!
That's exciting.
Can somebody get Corey some water, please?
What? Genshin never had this. Wow, this just shows maybe players are just quitting way sooner than Hoyoverse expected. Five TP, BPGA, GBDAK. They really had to squeeze the word gag in one of their codes, didn't they?
Well, I
All right.
said it last time.
Check pin
I'll say
comments
it
for the
again.
codes.
Time
Check pin
flies when
comments.
you're having fun.
Uh-huh.
Another special program has come to an end. We talked about a lot of 1.2 features. You guys, got any favorites?
Gotta be that boss fight for me. When the crew fought the Doomsday Beast and Cocolia, Welt was watching from the sidelines. This will be the first time we see him on the battlefield.
Ooh.
So watch your back, Fantilia.
I'm excited to see more of Blade. Heck, I recorded enough fighting efforts to lay down an album. We better get some fight scenes, come on. Not to mention, it seems like him and Danhung are finally about to meet. Something tells me they're not gonna settle things over a cup of tea.
Uh-oh. As for me, it is all about Kafka. Although I am curious about the Tales of the Fantastic event, because this sounds like Trailblazers have plenty of room to get creative.
Seems like we're all a little biased here. but
Totally.
one thing is for sure, 1.2 is a version to look forward to. Albert here has done a good job keeping us in check today, and there's still a lot of mystery out there for you Trailblazers to delve into.
You guys were a handful, all right. But hey, we made it out alive. That's it for Honkai Star Rail version 1.2 special program, folks. Thanks again to all you Trailblazers for tuning in, and see you for the next one.
Bye,
So long.
guys.
I can probably save 30 polls. I'll be able to save 30 polls in 1.2. So 30 polls in 1.2, 30 polls in 1.3 maybe? And I'll probably have more than enough to get to soft pity. My god. If Jing Liu comes out, I might have to win my 50-50 for her. Well, that's gonna be that. Was a pretty quick stream. I would say overall thoughts for 1.2. It's gonna be a stronger patch than 1.1. Just because of the main story pushing new boss, and yes, they had to release new boss to kind of incentivize people to farm these bosses for the new characters and stuff whatnot, which is a system I really don't understand. I want bosses to have more inherent value than just like, oh, I'm gonna farm this boss if I need materials for these new characters. It's the same problem with Genshin. A lot of these bosses will never ever see the light of day. Look at Dvalin nowadays. Who farms Dvalin for fun? Right? It's because there's also cost associated with farming these bosses. A lot of these bosses just kind of sit there for all eternity when we move on to new areas, which I guess that's how these kind of progressive games go. It's the same with other games. You never really go back to farm the old content and whatnot, but it's just, it would be nice for them to incentivize farming these bosses in a different way. I wish all the bosses were like, maybe you can choose what rewards you want at the end. I don't know, like you can choose which characters ascension materials you want, so you can fight with it whichever boss you want. So eventually, if you want to fight another boss that you're very familiar with or that your team is built around, you can always choose to fight that boss instead of the other ones. But then you end up in a scenario where, what if you just always fight the same boss? But then maybe there's a sense of novelty for people who get bored and want to try a different boss. So it's just, we'll see. Maybe in future updates they'll implement more quality of life changes as to this kind of stuff, but I doubt it. With Genshin, this is how it's always been. Now the other thing with the events, like, I'll be honest, and I'll keep saying it, I'm not a huge fan of the mini games, right? I play this game mainly to push my characters, increase their ceiling, more potential, create better synergies, and enjoy combat. Even when it comes to the story, I'm not as invested in Honkai Star Rail's story versus Genshin's story. So I'm probably just gonna spam through it. At the end of the day, I'm here to build up my team. I want to make sure my Clara is as strong as she could be. I want to make sure my Seele, my Jingyuan, all my characters are as strong as can be. All the resources are going towards them, right? I don't care about the story. I don't care about the mini games. I couldn't care less. I'll get the monthly pass. I'm thinking about getting the BP, but maybe I'll skip that too, because like, this is the thing, Hoyoverse doesn't really care. Like, they really don't seem like they care if you whale or don't whale, or spend or don't spend, because they have enough people whaling. They don't really need to incentivize whaling anymore. So probably just gonna play through, build up my characters. I'll see how far I can play through Star Rail. Star Rail is not like Genshin. I don't think I'll reach the end of Star Rail. Once something better comes around, I'll just move on. It's like Wuthering Waves is a big title looking forward to. I thought about Blue Protocol for NA, but I also don't like games where like they released it overseas for like years. Then this is the thing, I'm also heading back to China next month in August, so I'm probably just going to take that opportunity maybe to play on the Chinese server for some of these other titles as well, because they probably have ways to get into those servers from CN. So yeah, I don't know. Honkai Star Rail 1.2, like 1.1 was probably like a 5 out of 10, barely passable. I think 1.2 is like around a 6.5 out of 10 kind of patch. Maybe 7 because of the new boss. I think the new boss is like the highlight for me. Like anything combat usually is a great highlight, because think about it, what do you spend most of your time in Honkai Star Rail doing? Like, this is the question I have for people who's playing this game. It's like, what do you spend most of your time doing in Honkai Star Rail? It's just grinding materials. What are you grinding materials for? right? This is at least my train of thought is, what am I spending the most time doing in Honkai Star Rail? And then depending on what my answer is, why am I doing this, right? Why? For what purpose? Is it to play the mini games? Is it to do XYZ? Why am I doing this? For what reason, right? And then I have to look towards the reason. Like, okay, so this is why, right? I'm farming, let's say for my characters, I'm farming relics. Why am I farming it? So I can have an easier time with Memory of Chaos, for example. Okay, then that's my end goal. Is that my end goal? What more? Is there anything beyond that? It's like, okay, I also spend a lot of time, like honestly, what else is there to do? Farming Simulated Universe. Okay, so why am I doing that? Right? Because it's fun, because combat is fun. So everything that I do actually, I don't know if this is true, but like anything that you can do in Honkai Star Rail is servicing combat experience. Ultimately, right? You want a better combat experience. You want to have better characters, stronger characters to do what? To clear content faster, right? So, like overall, I just think like these events really don't, and it's not like they don't, because a lot of people would justify these events, but like, oh, but people don't have time. They don't have the time to grind and stuff. But I'll be honest with you guys, these events take just as much time as, let's say, grinding. In fact, a lot of these events are active gameplay. You have to sit there manually playing the game. Whereas if you're just farming and stuff, you can AFK, press auto battle, and just leave for like 5 minutes and come back. Then really the question becomes, then why even play this game? If all you're playing is auto battle, auto battle, auto battle, auto battle, auto battle, everything is auto battle, auto battle, auto battle, auto battle, auto battle, then why are you even playing this game? But then there were people who were defending the auto battle system. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's gonna get old eventually. You're like a year, 2 years from now, you're just sitting there auto battling 90% of your time. A lot of people say like, wow, that's the saving grace of this game, right? Like, but I honestly feel like, yes, auto battle is a great feature, but it's a feature that's doomed to fail. In my opinion, it's doomed to fail. Is that eventually you're not really playing the game. You're playing the game 10% of the time. And I get it. The developers is like, okay, so since you're auto battling 90% of the time, we'll give you events, mini games and stuff that you can actually participate in and play through. But ultimately, I think the mini game system is designed for a more like very casual experience. And this is the same issue with Genshin. That's why I said during the live streams, like, this is the exact same thing with Genshin, is that if you crave any sort of more in-depth, challenging events, right? You want to really test yourself. You want to really flex your characters. These limited time events really isn't the avenue to go for. Memory of Chaos, Simulated Universe, these are the two. Oh, sorry about that. I keep bumping into the microphone. Simulated Universe, Memory of Chaos, these are the only two avenues you have to really flex your account and the characters and the hard work you put into them, right? But let me tell you, the magic really dies once you clear MLC for the first time. Right now, I'm still going hard on the game because I haven't cleared MLC fully maxed out the stars yet. But once I do it just once, it stops becoming interesting. It is what it is. It's the same thing with Genshin Impact. It's the same thing with all these other games that has like a end goal, right? And it's not necessarily bad to set an end goal. Like, there are MMOs, there are like RPG games that have like literally no end to them. You can grind for the next 20 years and never reach the end goal of the game. And in that sense, you also eventually just burn out. You're just like, there's no point. What's the point? Like, there's no end to this. Like, it's an endless pit of grinding, right? And there's no substance to it. It's very difficult to find that balance. These are the two extremes. On one side, you have HoYoverse with their more casual approach with the relatively tuned end game, which is achievable with a couple months of hard work and preparation. And the other spectrum is just like, holy freaking shit, you can sink your whole life into this game and you really can't say you've beat it, right? So it really is about picking which one you like. Like, you really, I feel like at the end of the day, you really need a healthy balance of both of these things. Define substance. Substance is something of inherent value to chase after. in my opinion, right? So let's say TCG, like in TCG, in Genshin Impact TCG. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like a card game within Genshin Impact. A lot of people would say, "Oh, the TCGs has no substance. Like there's nothing to chase after, right? There's nothing to chase after, nothing of value there for me to go for." Yet, right? And the same thing for fishing, right? In Genshin Impact, same thing for fishing. There's like people who say fishing is useless to me. Right? It's useless to me. No substance. This is a piece of content that has no substance. Yet there are people who fish exclusively in Genshin Impact. In Genshin Impact, you guys are like, Walrus, you're nitpicking. There's no way somebody just play Genshin Impact. If I will guarantee you, there is at least one player who plays Genshin just for the fishing. Now my question to you guys is, does that justify fishing as a piece of content with substance? Like, see, my question really is, at what point do we draw the line between, okay, this piece of content is very trivialized, or this piece of content has little to no substance for the majority of the player base, right? So it's versus the TCG. The TCG is like a step up. What about the teapot? The teapot, in my opinion, is it's like a middle ground between fishing and the TCG. The teapot is in a position where a lot of people would say it doesn't add anything to the game. Yet when it first came out, people were like, "Oh my god, like this is amazing. I'm gonna go in and build like the most wonderful." Fast forward 2-3 months, everybody stopped talking about it. And this is the problem with Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse in general, is that their content lasts, like they have terrible shelf lives. The contents of the game, these events, like has no shelf life. So it's like when I say substance, it's something that you can sink your teeth into, that you can reminiscent even. Like sure, it might not last for the rest of the game, but something that you can reminiscent. Like when you think back to Genshin Impact and their events, there's very few events that actually jump out at you. Most of them are actually story events, right? The Albedo event back in oh my goodness, what is that zone called? The icy snow mountain. The Albedo event at that is definitely one that jumps out at you. But the mini games, the recurring mini games, maybe the tower defense game, right? Or like all these small little mini games. There's like the Golden Archipelago, but it's like none of it is of permanence. They come and go, and it's a fleeting thought almost. You really would have to try hard to even recall a lot of good memories, in my opinion. Yeah, Dragon Spine of these events. Most of them are just there so you can fill your time, which I mean that's what a video game is, right? It's like just there to fill your time. But if you think, like for example, I don't know how many of you guys even played older games, like I'm trying to think, how many of you guys here has played MapleStory? How many of you guys here have played MapleStory? Maybe you guys are too young to know what MapleStory is, some of you guys. But MapleStory is like a game that defines an entire like era of people who used to play video games back in 2007, 2006. RuneScape. Yeah. How many of you guys have played RuneScape, right? How many of you guys have played RuneScape? Maybe some of you guys have played World of Warcraft. There's a lot to be said about games with substances that like many years later you can reminiscent back to the days where you used to play those games, and you have very fond memories of it. So Danji says MapleStory and Ragnarok Online. Like I think Genshin has a lot of strength. Same with Honkai Star Rail. Genshin's OST, in my opinion, is better than Honkai Star Rail. I don't know. I think I'm biased towards Genshin's OSTs because it has a very, it's very impressive, yet it's very basic. If you study like music theory and stuff like that, like a lot of the chords and the progressions are very predictable. It's like the way it flows and leads back, it's very predictable, but it's a very feel-good melody. There's a lot of melodies in Genshin that's very feel good, right? So this is the thing about Genshin, is like they really put in a lot of effort to package the product. But when you open the packaging, it's like the most beautiful packaging you can possibly imagine, such high quality. But when you open the packaging, and then you open the second packaging, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and each packaging is so beautifully crafted, like you almost don't want to open it. But then once you get to the bottom of it, it was hiding like the most basic thing. Is like Genshin is a very basic product at its fundamental. It's just packaged extremely well. When I say packaging, I include the quality of the characters, the music, and stuff like that. But if you look at the game fundamentally at its core, it's a very basic and straightforward game with, like, in my opinion, not a lot of thought behind it. And when it comes to the updates, they're more so targeting Genshin from a marketing perspective as opposed to like an actual gameplay perspective. Like, truly, if you guys just look at the game and actually evaluate the qualities of this game, both for Honkai Star Rail and Genshin, I'm talking about both of these games. Hoyoverse games are more so marketing tools as opposed to actual games of substance. Now, I'm not going to say they're bad games. They're just very generic and basic, right? They took fundamentals from successful titles, implemented it, reskinned it, and put their own Hoyoverse twist. Now, people said Genshin Impact was a Breath of the Wild clone. Yes, it was, but they put a Hoyoverse twist to it, right? They took Breath of the Wild, implemented it with a different set of graphics, characters, story, music, and they put their own Hoyoverse little twist to it, right? Hoyoverse puzzles, like these budget down versions, watered down versions. So like when it comes to actual gameplay and the quality of the gameplay and the game mechanics, I think Genshin doesn't really rival Breath of the Wild, right? But it doesn't have to. And of course, it being a gacha game, it just have to meet the bare minimum requirement for gacha addicts to just fall head over heels for it, and that is a good enough story, attractive enough characters, and then of course bring it all home with, you know, the music, the thirst traps, and a good community, like a community that's going to cosplay, a community that's going to make content for it, a community that's live and thriving and active. They've achieved that both for Honkai and Genshin. Hoyoverse and their titles have now successfully become a piece of gacha culture. Now, for people who don't know how scary that is, once you solidify your contents and your product as a part of the gaming culture, you really can't go anywhere unless you like commit acts like against humanity. Like I'm saying like you're gonna have to do some real mess up. You're gonna really have to try to mess up your reputation. And Genshin is a prime example of somebody who has gotten a hold of this reputation and they are never going to let go. Never. Hoyoverse will never let go. They're relentless. And I can tell you this from growing up in an Asian family, when an Asian, especially like a Chinese person, gets an opportunity, you're gonna have to cut all his limbs off before you can get him like to stop latching onto this thing with all their might. Same thing for Dawei. Dawei came from humble beginnings. If you guys have actually watched his interviews, you have seen where he's came from. He's had humble beginnings. He worked on projects. He self-made games that were like not very proud to look at, but look at where he came from and look at where he's now. If you guys have any doubts of whether or not Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero is going to do anything but what they need to do to succeed financially, you're mistaken. And again, maybe this is just Dawei's vision. Like maybe this is just his vision. Maybe like he's always dreamed about having gacha RPG games with mini games built into them. Be like, oh my god, why would I even play all these other mini games if I can just play this one game? Maybe that was his dream. Maybe since he was like like in elementary school, he's dreamed about playing a game with beautiful graphics, amazing sound design, and OSTs, and an overarching storyline. Yet, in between patches or during patches, there's like these smaller mini games and events that he can play through. If you think about it, this reminds me a lot of like some of the old RPGs I used to play. Like Pokemon is the most like basic vanilla example. Like there's, if you guys have played some of the Pokemon titles, like there's like underground mining, right? Like you were mining stuff, you were mining and collecting fossils, statues and stuff like that. Like that's a mini game. It's just Dawei took that idea and he cooked with it. We let him cook, and Dawei cooked up these mini games after mini games after mini games. Xavier says, I know, right? These games only have good story, great character design, good sound, clearly no substance. Yeah, but you see, that's what I'm saying. That's all packaging, Xavier. You see, you're missing the point. You're the one who's looking at, you're like, it's like looking at an iPhone and saying this is the best product to mankind. Like this is the peak of human ingenuity. This is where all the culmination of the human mind and inventions and stuff. No phone is better than this phone. Like, no. Listen, one of the main reasons the iPhone even has a fucking market. Like using the iPhone as an example, Xavier, answer me this question. Why do you think the iPhone even has a standing chance against Samsung, against Android? Why? They are almost inferior. They're inferior in almost every aspect of the specs when it comes to the phone. Why, Xavier? Right? If you can answer that question, then you will know why Honkai Genshin has no substance or has very little substance, yet they can succeed. The iPhone is one of the most popular choices of a smartphone in modern day, right? Why? Why? Are you going to say it has substance? Are you going to say that it's the best phone? It's not the best phone, but it doesn't have to be the best phone to be one of the most popular. It's the same thing with Honkai, same thing with Genshin. It's the same thing. Like here's another example. Now you guys may or may not agree. Is the most subscribed YouTube channel the channel with the best content? Right? Is it true across the board? Is the most followed Instagram individual the person that's most influential, or the person that's most deserving? It's not about deserving. It's not about qualities. It's not about like substance. It's always about marketing, right? There's a saying in Chinese media. When I used to work for the media companies back in China, there was a saying. It's like, it's not, we don't have a lack of talent, right? There's never a lack of talent. It's like they choose who has talent, if that makes sense. It's like the directors, the producers. It's the same in the West. It's the same in Hollywood. Let's say right now, but if top Hollywood executives wanted to push Bethesda's and make Bethesda's right now in chat, Bethesda's, if they wanted to make you more famous than Brad Pitt, more famous than Tom Cruise, more famous than Leonardo DiCaprio, right? More famous than all the A-list celebrities, they can do it. They can make somebody, just randomly pick somebody out from the crowd and make them the most famous person in the world. It's all about marketing. Bethesda's, you think it's impossible. It is not impossible. If all the top execs from Hollywood wanted to push one person, you can get pushed. It's the same thing in China. It's the same thing in all industries. Like, especially like any title they want to make successful. Any title these big corporations want to push and make successful, they can push it. It's all about marketing. For those of you guys who think, oh, it's impossible, there's no way. Tom Cruise got famous because it's luck, right? Same with Leonardo DiCaprio, it's all luck. They just got lucky. There's no way somebody like me can get pushed into stardom. You guys haven't seen it. That's why. Anime Holic Tops, I very much disagree with calling a good story just packaging, but it's not a good story. Like this is the thing. It's a good story for a gacha game, right? We have to not push the agenda saying Honkai Genshin has good story. It's you got to put it into context. For a gacha game, it's a good story. If I want to consume a good story, my first thought is not let me go start playing a new gacha game so I can enjoy the peak of storytelling. No. Like we got this all backwards. Sure, we have to evaluate them based off of like their competition. I understand that. Like you got to look at other gacha games and other right? Yes. Oh my god. Yes, they have good story with good voice acting and stuff. But let's not kid ourselves in saying Honkai and Genshin has like good stories in terms of like general storytelling. Right? So if I want a good story, a gacha game is not the first place I would look. In fact, it's not even anywhere on the list of like I would rather watch paint dry than play a new gacha game for the story. You get what I'm saying? So the only reason we even can say they have good story is because we're looking at it through the lens of the gacha game. You're playing it for the game first, and the story is supplemental to your gaming experience. Make sense? Anime Holocaust, they do though. They really do have really good stories. They don't though. They really don't. They're okay. If you go, I don't know, like Anime Holocaust, do you like to read light novels? Do you like to read manhwas? Do you like to watch movies, animes, or do you prefer like what's your medium for what type of content do you like to consume? Right? So you say, I still disagree. I've watched hundreds of anime and media, and the Genshin has legitimately good story writing at moments, not just gacha games. Okay, so you enjoy animes, you have read light novels, you have seen hundreds, read visual novels. Okay, then you see, this is where this would make sense, right? Like there's this type of storytelling appeals to, I would imagine, a lot of people. So Anime Holocaust is one of the people that really enjoys this type of storytelling, right? So because the Genshin and Honkai storytelling is another generic trope of storytelling from a lot of other series. They take in strong narratives from other series and they've implemented it into the shows, right? They have like, for example, a great example is the Fatui. They have an organization shrouded in mystery that is directly opposing against the protagonists, like what the protagonist wants, right? They've basically set up all these obstacles. They set up a lot of questions that needs to be answered. Why is my twin on the opponent's side? Who the hell are these people from the mysterious organization? What happened to the land that was destroyed? The land that was destroyed is referencing a lot of One Piece. The mysterious organization is referencing a lot of Naruto from from the Akatsuki, and then the nation that got destroyed was Kanria, is referencing the ancient civilization from One Piece, right? Like they take a lot of these tropes from existing animes that are literally like the most popular things about these shows. Like the mystery to One Piece is Void Century, right? Versus the Akatsuki from Naruto. These are some of the two most iconic things from both of these series, and they exist simultaneously in Genshin Impact, right? And people say Inazuma was literally hot garbage. But you see, this is the thing. There are inconsistencies in Genshin storytelling. You know why? It's because it's not one person writing the story. It's a team of writers that's constructing this world. There are bound to be logical inconsistencies and qualities of storytelling. You cannot have like 5, 6, 7 people working on one story and have it like be coherent, not coherent, like, and have it be consistent throughout the whole thing. A lot of the people are going to be giving input. Sure, 95% of the input are going to be shot down, and only 5% of it is going to actually make it. And the people are working tirelessly to create this story, but it's never going to compare against some of the best stories the world has to offer that comes from people who have dedicated decades of their life telling one story. This is 7 people. I don't know how many people, like 5, 7, 10 people trying to tell one story. Right? Series take inspiration from series all the time. Exactly. But a great series oftentimes will turn that into their own, right? They'll turn that source into their own. Whereas Genshin, a lot of like the character tropes, the stories, like the side quests, like what they use to try to tug at your heartstrings is very generic. It's like your typical sob story whenever they want you to feel sad. It's very on the nose. You, like anime, Holic Tops, you have seen hundreds of anime. You cannot tell me that Genshin tries very hard to be different. They don't try to elevate their storytelling. They don't try to elevate. Right, they saw something. Okay, let's take that general feel, that general like this is where we're gonna hit the sob story. This is where we're gonna hit this beat. This is where we're gonna hit this beat. All right, let's take that beat, reskin it with their own characters, with their own stuff, and they just play it through. Like really, it's nothing ground shattering. Like in my opinion, Genshin actually does it better in the music department. The music is what at most points of their storytelling elevates their story. It takes it to the next level because the music is well composed and it fits extremely well with the scene and whatnot. I'll give them that. In fact, when I say Genshin and Honkai has very little substance, I'd say the most amount of substance goes to the music, the sound design, and maybe the art, right? Good art, good quality of design, combat design, art, and good music, and decent story. I wouldn't say their story is bad. It's a decent story, but I wouldn't go any further than decent. And I think a lot of people would agree and a lot of people would disagree, right? And again, you're free to enjoy Genshin story. You're free to enjoy Honkai story. You're free to enjoy any story. It's just like I don't dog on the people who want to play Genshin for TCG or who want to play Genshin for the fishing, who want to play Genshin exclusively for the teapot. That's fine, but you cannot sell the idea of saying like, wow, you should really play Genshin because this is like the best card game that like humanity has ever seen, right? Yu Peng Cheng is hard carrying Genshin right now, and there's a reason why people say that. Oh, I knocked the mic again. I said again. There's a reason why people keep saying that. Like Yu Peng Cheng is like straight carrying the series. Like we undervalue and underappreciate OSTs because they've been done so poorly so often. Very few series, and I'm including anime and movies even to this. Think about it. Why is Hans Zimmer's? You guys know Hans Zimmer's, right? The guy who made the Inception, he's won like multiple Oscar like awards for best soundtrack. Why is Hans Zimmer's the guy, the GOAT when it comes to soundtrack design for movies? Why is he like the name that always pops up? It's because so little effort is being put into this aspect of our media, right? A lot of the times people focus purely on the visuals. It's all about the visuals. Wow, like whatever, like bam, like cool action sequences, like fighting scenes, camera shaking around, right? So little on the sound. So little on the sound. Yu Peng Cheng is a guy who took that gap in storytelling and he filled it. And he's overflowing it. The man is overflowing our sensory perceptions, our auditory sensory perceptions with top quality OSTs, right? Anime Holocaust is, to me, generic doesn't mean bad. Generic can be good when done a certain way. There's a reason why these tropes are reused, because they work. Yeah. But then it gets to a point where you can literally tell what's going to happen, right? Like it's not going to be like, I want a story. At my point in story consumption, I want a story that takes me up and down into valleys, into jungles and stuff. I want to be with the story. I don't want to constantly think about what's ahead of the story. Like, oh, okay, then they're gonna do this, and they're gonna do that, and probably gonna do this. I don't want a basic story. If I wanted a basic story, there's hundreds of animes that are out there that doesn't require me to have key inputs like WASD, like left, right click, switch characters and fight, right? And I don't have to wait for years to finish. There are multiple series on Crunchyroll, on like anime, whatever, dbos.io, whatever these websites are. So many completed animes that are the most generic things you'll ever see, copy and pasted every season. Why not them then? Right? Why Genshin? Why Honkai Star Rail? There has to be a reason for that, right? That's why I say I'm invested in Genshin's story, because it's been like many years. I'm fully invested. Like, even if I wanted to stop right now, I couldn't. But I've made an actual effort to not give a damn about Honkai Star Rail's story. I can play the game for its mechanics. I think HoYoverse makes some of the best combat mechanics any gacha game has to offer. Any, period, bar none. Combine that with top tier OST and sound design. So the combat sound design combined with the OST is really good. So whenever I want to enjoy that, it's here for me. You see, there's a reason why I don't want to wail anymore in Honkai Star Rail. There's no purpose. There's no substance. There's nothing of substance to wail for apart from like your waifu or husbando. But at that point, like, it gets old at a certain point. It's the same thing with like the same tropes that they use. It gets old, right? Like, why? Like, you guys also understand this. Why are so many animes that are released every season called like trash animes, like trash isekais? But people still say like, oh, we're still gonna watch them. But like, we're still watching them. It's trash, but we're still gonna watch them. There's a like, it's okay to say something is bad and still consume it, because, like, for example, junk food is trash. It's called junk food, but we still eat them, right? You still crave them. It's something about it. But don't let it trick you. Like, I'm not guzzling down gallons of Coca-Cola and saying like, damn, you know, this is the healthiest beverage mankind has to offer. It's like, this is some shit that I'm putting in my body. But at least I'm acknowledging it's shit and I'm still consuming it. I can say that Genshin has little substance and I still play it, right? You see, these things, like, you guys would think like, oh, it's conflicting. If it's so bad, why are you still playing it? Yeah, but like, there's so many things that are bad for you that we do, right? Staying up late is bad. Do you guys never stay up late, right? Like I said, eating junk food is bad for you. Eating processed food is bad for you. Do you guys not eat that, right? So by that logic, oh, it's bad for you. Just don't play it, right? Oh, if you think it's bad, just don't play it. Why are you still playing it? Uninstall, right? If it's so bad, why you eat it? If it's so bad, why you do it, right? So we have to separate this idea as like, oh, it's bad for, then don't do it, or don't eat it, or don't play it. Still play it. Yeah, exactly. Koinu says it can coexist. It happens all the time. Exactly. So, like, I'm just being fully honest with you guys. In my opinion, Genshin is like S tier in art, S plus tier in music. The story at best is B tier. At best is B tier. Like, B tier in story is already like me being generous when it comes to Genshin story. Okay? Honkai story, I don't know. I can't even talk about Honkai story. I think Honkai's sound and like music so far is like A. It's A tier. Right? Graphic wise, Honkai is also S tier. But overall combined, these games are still like A tier games. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, are you gonna tell me like, unless I give Genshin a triple S tier rating, that like, then I'm like, you know, I'm a hater? I think Genshin is A tier of a game, Honkai is A tier of a game. They're pretty good games. When it comes to overall, if you combine everything, then they're pretty good games, right? But if you just individually look at it, different pieces of the game, which obviously it's not fair, but if you just break it down into components and try to understand the game as a whole, you know, like some parts are just not that impressive. Like other parts are heavily carrying these titles. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. Psych Shock says I would give it a D tier. Yeah, I'm giving it a B tier because I play some really shitty games and I've read some really bad stories. I've read stories that I've read one page and I damn wanted to pull all my hair out, but I kept reading. I've watched shows that made me question, you know, like what the fuck am I doing with my life? in a bad way. It's like, why am I wasting my time watching this garbage? But you see, I've seen some really bad stuff, so I know there's bad storytelling out there that's also been funded, which, can you believe it? So Genshin is not terrible, but I would never for a second think that it's like peak storytelling. And anime Holocaust, I would like to think you don't think this is peak storytelling, right? You can say it's amazing, it's good, like maybe you would rate it A tier, S tier storytelling, but like you can't say this is some of the like top 10 stories of all time that's been ever told by humanity, right? Because that would just be like I like, right? Okay, so we agree on that. You're saying it's a solid story, better than most, whereas I'm saying it's a very basic story, slightly better than most like desperate attempts of like what's that called? Like every season they make animes that are just some of the most basic, like copy pasted garbage like I've ever seen. Genshin is not that, okay? Let's be clear. Genshin, like you said, they took inspiration from a lot of these shows, they reused it, but the Fatui is a very well established, well like built up antagonistic organization. Same with our twin. Like there's a lot of mystery shroud, like the whole Kanria storyline combined with the Fatui storyline. They're good setups, all right? They're good setups. But these are setups we have seen like over like many many times. It's all up to how they deliver in the end. If let's say if the Fatui ends up getting taken down one by one, like how the Akatsuki was taken out, and at the end they have the same twist with like, you know, like another big bad villain hiding behind the everything and stuff. Like they pull like a Madara, and then they pull the Otsuki bullshit. That's gonna be very disappointing. You take inspiration to a certain point. You don't just copy and paste the entirety of the storyline, right? I'll be very disappointed if they pull something like that. I'm very curious as to how the Fatui's inner dynamics is gonna work out, because we got to see a lot of the inner dynamics of the Akatsuki. Part of the reason why we felt so sad, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but when the Akatsuki got taken out one by one, I felt bad. I really did. Right now, I feel nothing but resentment for someone like Scaramouche, for example. I don't feel bad for the guy at all. They try to sell a sob story, but it's not working, man. Like, how many of you guys in chat feels bad for Scaramouche? I don't know. Am I just a sociopath? Am I crazy? I don't feel bad for the guy at all, right? But when Sasori died, sorry, a bit spoilers here. Do you guys remember Sasori from Akatsuki? When he died embraced by his own parents as dolls that he made himself, felt a little bad, okay? And Sasori is one of the better ones out there. Who did I not feel bad for? Oh, the guy who like from Naruto, the guy who makes bombs with his hands. When he died, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. I didn't really care. He died for his cause though. He died for art. But when Itachi died, man, that was sad. That was sad as fuck. When Kisame died, that was bad. Like I don't know, there's something about Kisame and his death just felt like, damn, like the man really was loyal to the very end, right? There are like each character takes time to develop. Look at how many years it took for Kisame and Deidara and Sasori and all these different characters to slowly evolve. Like Sasori was one of the shorter ones that only got like 2 years of screen time, give or take, maybe a year or some. So we'll see. I really don't want them to mess up the Fatui, but so far Scaramouche and the Wanderer isn't it. Like what they did with the Wanderer is just so poorly done. Like if because they try to sell us an entire sob story. It's like, oh, he was abandoned, bro. Like he didn't know any better, and then he was manipulated. And, oh my god, so sad. No. No. Like the Wanderer, they did them so dirty. And look at what they did with La Signora as well. Like the more I talk about it, the more like these writers needs to be fucking fired, man. Like I'm La Signora, such great setup, great personality, like in my personality, great character. There was so much more potential than to just be killed off like that. Sure, that was unexpected. Okay, I'll admit, like, oh my god, that took me for a ride. That was unexpected, but in all the wrong ways. Like, in all the wrong ways. So, I really hope this new Fatui that we got to see, the lady with the black hands and the long nails and stuff, with the X for pupil in her eyes, don't fuck her up, please. Like Tartaglia was like okay, like they did him good-ish, fine. Like Tartaglia was fine. La Signora was just absolutely wasted potential. Scaramouche, I don't know what the fuck happened to Scaramouche, and what was the writer consuming when he was writing this part of the story? Like the man just, like, I swear to God, he must have procrastinated. Like Dawei gave him like 6 months to write this story and write this character out, and he spent 5 of those months jerking off doing nothing. Like hell, 5 months and 3 weeks doing nothing. Not to be flexing, but I'm pretty sure I can pick 3 random dudes from chat right now and they would have come up with just as good of a story, if not better, than what this guy came up with Scaramouche. It's so basic, so generic, so run-of-the-mill, and they spend no time delivering it at all. They give us one story teaser about him and expect us to just be like, okay, yeah, we're on board. We're Team Scaramouche now, right? Okay, cool, amazing. It takes time. It takes much longer than just, sure, maybe in the future patches they're gonna like round out more, they're gonna tell us more about Scaramouche, they're trying to ease us in more back to this character. But it's just like, man, they really just try to sell us this sob story. Why not just take it evil all the way? Go. Why can't you just make him evil? Why you gotta do a freaking turn at the end, man? Like I was fully on board with hating the guy, and you're trying to now conflict. They're throwing a lot of conflicting emotions my way. They're like, oh, but isn't he so sad? Isn't he sad? Look at him. He was abandoned as a child. Like, it's Raiden's fault. Like, I can't. I think they need to go back and redo a lot of the Inazuma story characters and stuff. Inazuma, like whoever wrote Inazuma needs to find a new line of profession, because storytelling ain't it for this person. Like, I'm sorry. Genshin is just following the CN community. Guess they want everyone to be the good guy if they're playable. Yes, actually, now that you mention it, I do remember there was it one of the requirements? Huh. I don't remember, because back when I worked in CN, there were media restrictions, but I don't remember if having to be the good guy. Now I do understand what you're saying. You're saying there's like some sort of code or unspoken rule where like if you're gonna have a character that's playable, they have to be like a character that's like that has been redemptified for their sins, right? I get it, but I don't remember if that was like a rule set up by the government. So I don't know. So I'm sure people can check it out, but I might ask my source in China. Actually, I have a couple sources in China, so I might just ask them that later today. But honestly, if they fully sold Scaramouche as the bad guy, like honestly, I think there's a lot of charm to it. There's a lot more charm to him being like just a bad apple. The Fradio says, but then again, Genshin Impact may follow the same route as Fast and Furious, dumb and enjoyable. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with being dumb and enjoyable. I mean, this is a terrible example, but summer blockbusters used to be like the thing, right? If you guys remember back like 5, 6, maybe even 10 years ago, summertime was like the best time to go catch movies. Like it does, like Transformers was just like the most, like a giant stinking pile of garbage, but we still ate it up, right? Consensually, of course. We still ate that shit up. It was just like, okay, you go have fun with friends, grab some food, and go catch a movie, right? But the problem with Genshin is you can't really even play with friends. It's like if you wanted to hang out with your friends, you all ate at the same restaurant but at 4 different tables. you guys all ate at the same restaurant at 4 different tables and then went to go catch a movie in 4 different seats, and then afterwards you guys went home and hopped on Discord and then shared your afterthoughts. Like that's what playing Genshin feels like if you even have friends who play with you, that is. Like again, you guys would think I'm trash talking Genshin, but this is literally part of the charm of Genshin. It's that you don't have to socialize. You see, these are all double-edged swords. There are games that force you to socialize. RPG games, like you have to socialize, which is like I think it's bullshit, but it is what it is. Angelic says he oversimplifies Scaramouche entirely too much, but also he was retconned into losing most of his depth. The thing with Scaramouche really is, it's like I feel like his redemption felt forced. I do feel like he could have remained as how he was. I don't know about how storytelling should have gone, but you don't really need a twist for everything, right? It feels like at all the major, like what? Okay, here's what happens. So far in Genshin storytelling, they have put a twist after twist after twist after twist. At every major plot reveal, they feel like the need to have a twist, right? Think about it. At every major plot point in, like, not every major, but in the most plot point, like most plot has a plot twist in Genshin. Like they love plot twists, but there will come a day where you have to unravel all these plot twists. They love like throwing things like, for example, from the very beginning, it was just like, oh my god, you got separated from your twin. But wait, who's that? That's your twin, right? And then you fast forward, be like, oh my god, Rex Lapis is dead. But is he really dead? Right? And then you go to the land of Inazuma, like, oh my god, the Raiden Shogun is a tyrannical ruler. But is that really Raiden Shogun? And then like, oh my god, it's La Signora confronting Raiden Shogun, but she's dead. What the fuck? It's just like at every turn they keep throwing these plot twists, and it was like we even with the Dainsleif stuff, we're like fighting the I remember this, fighting the Abyss Herald, and then suddenly our twin comes out, and then they tell us to get lost or something like that. And it's like, this is not your fight, or like why are you on their side? Like, oh my god, we're being confronted by our twin. Why are we on this side? Are we on the wrong side? They just keep throwing these things at you every time. Like, there's nothing, like I said. and then we move into Sumeru. It's like the doctor. It's like, but he's not alone, right? Like, he has clones. So it's just like, but it wasn't really this doctor. There's more doctors. And then we go to the whole Nahida storyline. Like, fuck. Even in the end, is like, oh my god, greater. What's her name? Greater Rakatanava or something like that. What's her name? I forgot, but like, yeah, and then it's like, and then we had to forget about her. Rakadevada, yeah, Rakadevada, the greater Lord Rakadevada. It's like, oh my god, she was still here the whole time. She was with us, but now we have to forget her. Okay, that was kind of beautiful. I'm not gonna dog on that. To be honest, Sumeru's story is probably the strongest story out of the series so far. And hey, listen. I even made a video before Sumeru came out saying that Sumeru's story is probably going to be like the best part of the story, because it's at this point of the story there needs to be like a change in the pacing of the story. There needs to be more things revealed. And I was right. Look at how much they revealed in Sumeru, because we're at the point in the storyline structurally, if they don't start revealing like a large amount of information and speed, like to a degree, speed up the pacing of the story comparative to what they did in previous regions. At this point of the story, if you don't do it, you won't have time. Then your whole thing is going to feel rushed. I said this before Sumeru came out. You can fact check me. I have videos on my channel dated back before Sumeru even came out. Some of you guys probably even remember me saying this before it came out. I said, from a storytelling perspective, this region has to give us more than setting up fucking more questions, right? And they delivered. Sumeru's story is so far the strongest when it comes to the entire series, right? So when it comes to Fontaine has to not do more than Sumeru, but they have to continue the trend. They need to unravel. We're at the point of the story where there needs to be more conflict, more confrontation, and in the conflict, unravel a lot of the questions that we have. This is part of the delivery, but not yet. And then in Natlan, like maybe towards the end of Fontaine and into Natlan, there needs to be like a downward spiral for the protagonist. That's how usually it is. You need to get broken down so you can get rebuilt back up, right? This roller coaster of a thing, like we were in a very, very slanted, like almost a flat slope from Mondstadt to Liyue, and then Inazuma started giving us a little more of a ramp, and then we are like fully at the top, almost at Sumeru, and then it needs to level up a little bit. And towards the end of Fontaine, early into Natlan is when we're gonna take the nosedive, when we are gonna really struggle, and we need to fight our way back. And as we go through Natlan is when we find ourselves and journey back, and we literally fight our way through this and bring ourselves back to the climax in the end. And the climactic culmination of all this arrives. What's the ice region called? I completely forgot what the ice region is called. But yeah, maybe they never told us, but that's where it all leads, right? Maybe unless they have a chapter plan for after that, then maybe the ice region is where we're going to have our downfall. Maybe the end of Natlin and the ice region is where we're going to have our downfall, and then we get rebuilt back into the final arc. Shiznaya. Yes, Shiznaya. So yeah, depending if there's another region after Shiznaya, maybe there's like the heavenly principal realm or whatever, then Shiznaya is going to be when we have our downfall. That's just how basic story structure is. And it's good to see at least Hoyoverse, they're generic to their core. They copy and paste everything down to the story structural and method of storytelling, which, yet again, it's predictable, which I don't like, but at least I know what's coming to a certain extent of like, okay, if they just follow this story, it's going to be a feel-good story. Right? It doesn't matter if I know the general story arc, but it's a feel-good story model. Like, I'm gonna feel great at the end when it's fully delivered because it's different characters with different stakes, right? With different setup, with different antagonists. Even if the general arc is the same, like Animeholic said, other shows have the same arc as well. It's not like this is exclusive to Genshin. So like, we're very familiar with this. A lot of you guys wouldn't really break this down into the components like I have, but now that you know, you'll recognize it in so many different stories. But what makes them unique is how they're told. And so far, Inazuma is like a dumpster fire. I hope never ever happens ever again for the rest of this game, because Genshin Impact has so much potential. They've kind of sacked the potential in terms of, in my opinion, gameplay and game development for people who cares about the mechanics and the end game and actual combat. But they still have the story and the music and everything that they can really take this home. I mean, they're even making an anime. Come on, like if you're gonna go as far as making an anime, you really have to hunker down and focus hard on the story, right? Because when you turn Genshin into an anime, it's going to be criticized as an anime, not as a gacha game with a story, but just as a standalone anime. Okay. So, oh yeah, you forgot Conria will be after Senna. Yeah, so it depends. Like, I don't even know how far they've planned it. Maybe after Conria, then there's also more, right? So then what ends up happening, what could end up happening is like Shiznaya, you have your downfall, you get beaten down, and then you claw yourself back up as you enter into Conria, and then you combine with maybe something from Conria, and then you defeat the antagonist from Shiznaya or whatever, or the mastermind behind Shiznaya. Like, oh my god, you thought it was the queen, and no, she was being brainwashed by something even bigger. Like, you get my point, right? You finally defeat the mastermind, and then that all leads up into the setup for Celestia, right? Oh my god, wait, no, if that's the case, then we literally have a Madara situation with the Otsutsuki, right? No, don't do it. Don't do it. Just let the Ice Queen be the final antagonist. I have no gripes with that. Like, I would absolutely hate it if it's a reveal that there was somebody else behind the Ice Queen manipulating her. Yeah, that's gonna be rough for me. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's too on the nose. Just let the Ice Queen be the Ice Queen, be evil. I don't care if she commits like the most heinous crimes against humanity. Let her just be evil, right? Just let it be that. She doesn't have to be playable. Let us take her down and rescue Shiznaya, move into Conria, eventually into Celestia, and we can finally figure out what the hell is going on. You forgot our twin? Yeah, our twin's probably going to be in Conria, let's be honest. The Tsaritsa won't be the final villain. Yep, I know that, but I don't want anybody behind the Tsaritsa. She could be like an obstacle, but I don't want her to be like a freaking puppet of another villain. It doesn't need to be that basic, right? Let her be her own villain. Give her her own space to shine. She's like leading the most like interesting group of villains in the show. I mean, not the show, in the whole game. Don't let her just be like a run-of-the-mill, I'm manipulated and I don't know how to think for myself type of character. That dumbs the character down so much. It takes so much away from the actual character. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Like Hoyoverse, I know you like to lurk in random streams of your content creators. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Let other villains have their moments to shine. Each character is their own individual characters. Don't have a puppet character. It sells them short. It literally strips them of their own inherent interests and values. Very bad. Very difficult to execute as well. Don't think you can execute that properly, Hoyoverse. You're like, this is a gacha game. Let's not kid ourselves thinking this is like some AAA or like some freaking decade long in the making story. It's not, right? Keep it simple. Keep it straightforward. I'm sure most people here would have no problem with the Tsaritsa just being the Tsaritsa, being evil or being whatever, right? Having her own agenda is fine as well. Like, she doesn't have to be just pure evil. She can have her own agenda. Maybe from her side, from her perspective, she's right. Right? Give her the Thanos treatment. Right? Give her the Thanos treatment. Maybe from a certain perspective, she's right. Maybe we should have been on her side the whole time instead of fighting against her. But don't let her just be like, oh, I'm brainwashed. I can't think for myself. There's a bigger, better villain behind me. So that's just my gripe. People are saying Honkai has also ended weird. Oh, no. Don't get me started. But that's gonna be it. We went on this whole tangent talking about Honkai Star Rail, but we're gonna have another live stream later this evening. I need to head to bed. We have another live stream in 13 hours. So I'll see you guys then. We can pick up where we left off. We'll talk about Genshin. We'll talk about Honkai. Soul has made a video recently about Raiden Shogun being the worst character story-wise in Genshin Impact, which I agree. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked into a lot of deep lore for Genshin, so maybe there's some other stuff hidden in there. But people have wanted me to react to Soul's video, and surprise surprise to them, I've already watched the video before they even recommended it to me, because I keep saying to you guys, I watch a lot of Soul's videos. When I first recommended him on my channel, I even said, like, this guy's gonna go somewhere. Where, I don't know, but somewhere. And look at him now. He's doing great. He's making amazing content, in my opinion, like some of the better content in the Genshin space. Very refreshing. This is not me pulling stuff out of my ass. You can go again, look way back into my streams. I said this like 2 years ago when I first has it been 2 years? Maybe 1.5 years ago when I first showed one of his videos on my stream. I think he's a really amazing content creator, right? So we can talk more about that. If we want to talk story, I can talk story about Genshin for a really, really long time, because story is part of what I used to do. Actually, I used to write stories, write screenplays. Right in the wheelhouse, baby. All right. Yeah, I just didn't pay the bills, so I went into a different line of work. But I'll see you guys later this evening. We'll pick up where we left off. But until then, urge you to stay safe. Peace. Bye-bye.